Smugglers and Scholars Getting Guns with American Dollars. It's VGC, the video game podcast, with me, Jordan Midler, Chris Scullion, Andy Robinson, and Alex Donaldson. This week, we're shaken, not stirred. But first, how's it going, folks? Chris Scullion, how are you?
Doing good. It's been another busy week.
A week in the sun of Scotland. How have you been handling the heat? Because I was only here one day this week and it was horrible.
I've been handling it by not going outside except to take the kid to school and picking her up. Other than that, I've been living like a hermit.
Yeah. Have you got a big fan set up? Like, have you got a multiple fan system? Because I think I'm going to need to implement that this summer.
My house is a rather large environmental rating, therefore I've no need for such frivolity. I've been okay, actually. To be honest, the house has been all right.
Games Media Wages treating you well. Nice big house in Edinburgh.
That's why I make them moderate bucks.
Yeah. Speaking of a moneyed lad, Alex Donaldson, how you doing?
I'm all right. It has been disproportionately hot. I've enjoyed. I did the thing this week that I'm sure everyone. It depends on if you use an electric one or a petrol one. But I went out into the garden. I was like, it's the first lawn mow of the season, and it had all gone. And like the little bit of fuel that was left at the end of winter had like gone to gunk in the bottom of the tank. And then I tried to take the mower apart and empty the tank. Turns out I'm not a very good mechanic, so then I had to give up and pay a man like £100 to come and
pay a beggar boy
my mower. But yeah, it's really hot. Literally, before we started, it's way too noisy to have on while we podcast. But I had the office AC on because I've just got one. I've got a unit in the office because it's that warm. Really nice for the dogs, though.
I was trying to think of some kind of like what under desk solution could I have for cooling me down, other than your mom, obviously. But like some kind of liquid cool myself. To can I put like a big pool of ice water underneath me? But
you know what I don't understand? In my car, I've got my seats are heated, but it's also got ventilated seats. So the button next to the heated seats, you press it, and obviously there must be fans inside the cushion of the seats, and it blows cool air through the little holes in the chair, and so you get a really cool arse and stuff. But why are there not gamer chairs like that?
I am literally sitting on one right now.
Oh, is it?
And you know why they don't do it? Because it broke after about 2 days. Not only did it break after about 2 days, the buttons to make it hot and cold are basically where your arse are. So any moment you move about, it just goes beep, 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 and the temperature's going up and down constantly. So that might be a big arsed problem. But the one day that it did work, I was like, this is brand new. Why is what they called the big gamer chair company, the ones with the Omega and all them,
Secret Lab.
Why are they not doing this? But it seems to be the smaller companies that are doing it. I do wonder that if I kept the heat on, if it would burst into flames. But I put the heat on one day, within 2 seconds the cat was like curled up in it, so it seemed to work okay. And then I just sat in his fat little head. Andy Robinson, how are you doing?
I'm alright. Bit bored.
Yeah.
It was a boring month. April.
Yeah, it was.
It's weird. We joked about it the first week of April, where we had a story on the podcast that was nothing's going on, and then just nothing happened for the rest of the month. Like it's been a little strange.
It's weird though, isn't it? I mean, when was the last time you guys looked at the calendar? Because of a project I'm doing, I looked at the calendar and I was like, okay, what's out in May, June, July? So what's confirmed so far?
I updated it today. And it's actually there's quite a lot. It seems like there was more in April than there is in May.
Yeah, there is 100%.
I mean, obviously Forza's a big one.
Forza and
Batman 007, Directive 8020.
Yeah,
Subnautica 2 is going to early access now, which makes it a bit busier. That Yoshi game, I honestly think could be a bit of a dark horse. I really was surprised by that.
When you can get Nigel Farage in it and stuff, that's
Nige.
There's a little dark horse I'm interested in, which is there's a
mixtape.
There's a Battlestar Galactica game on PC only, but it's like
a strategy game, right? Scattered Hopes.
Yeah, it's like XCOM-ish and FTL-ish, and Battlestar's such a good IP for that. And also that Star Trek Voyager game that came out was so good on that front. I'm sort of like, okay, let's see. If that's any good. But yeah, it's weird how quiet it is, and then June is just
The drizzling
there's a lot because I update our release list at the start of every month, and there's clear like the trend clearly is like people are leaving it till like 50 days, before committing, because there's this kind of like this big like circle that kind of expands as the year goes on. Like anything past June at the moment is pretty hollow. Like I've got 4 big games on our list for August. I mean, like 6.
Assassin's Creed in July.
Yeah, so they're slowly rolling out.
Yeah. Speaking of the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake, I played it this week. That's all I can say. You'll find out more later in May.
Conversation over.
About Assassin's Creed
Say
Black Flag Resynced and the city of Paris. No, you won't find out anything more about the city of Paris. Let me tell you that for nothing. Last night we recorded Off Topic, which you'll get next week. We talked a little bit about Paris, and we talked a little bit about stuff that should probably be cut out of that podcast, but we'll see how much of it actually gets to air. Speaking of, patreon.com/video games chronicle, which is the #1 way you can support us, this website, and the future of games media. We've posted a little update today. Basically, at the start of this year, very, very busy. We were all strewn to the wind. It was hard to get us locked down to record the stuff that you really like, the We3 Talk E3, the Acceptable in the 90s, and obviously your CVG. So now if you check out patreon.com/video games chronicle, we have a schedule that makes it much more manageable for us to like bulk record, and it means that it's this week, therefore I am getting this. So yeah, we'll kick that off next week with your Off Topic. You've got an Off Topic week, then you've got a Retro week led up by Chris Scullion. You'll be shocked to hear, which will be your CVG or the history of video games, which we're kicking off. The following week will be your Watch Along, which is Acceptable in the 90s, and We 3 Watch E3. And the fourth week of the month will be like a bonus video. It could be one of our big travel logs. It could be a Midler versus Scullion if something comes out that month that we particularly feel hot about, but that will change every month. Chris, much more manageable this way.
Yeah, like you say, it started. We didn't do ourselves any favors with the stretch goals for the Christmas thing because we really didn't expect like such a reaction, which we obviously really appreciated. But then instantly it was like, oh great, everyone's backing us. And then suddenly became, oh shit, we need to actually do all this stuff now.
There's some North Americans we can blame for that.
Yeah,
some North Americans that took the absolute piss out of us during that.
Exactly, it was scandalous. But yeah, like you say, we're all kind of. Although in 2 weeks' time, like some of us are off to Japan, but by and large, we're kind of, like you say, we've literally just been speaking about how quiet it is now. It's a good time to kind of stop and have a rethink and kind of plan these things better. So going forward, yeah, it's going to be more structured.
And on that, the last couple of bits and pieces from the Christmas drive are also detailed on that update on patreon.com/video games chronicle. Andy, a few words on where Patreon's at for you and kind of what it means to VGC. We talk about it in passing a lot because I think it's entirely anti-British to be constantly plugging it.
Yeah,
you can't
you're
be
right.
like Greg Miller who does it every time he breathes. So
we're kind of we probably if we were American we'd be shouting about it a bit more, and that's no I don't mean that in a negative light. I mean we're not very good at that sort of thing, right? But it is, we want it to be the core of the business. It makes a huge difference. Thankfully, it's been growing, since we launched it, and that's super appreciative. And it's going to hopefully, the real big first highlight will be the live event at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be great to see everyone. I think it's going to be really, really cool. We've got some good plans.
Indeed.
Thanks.
The Autumnmore wasn't thrilled when I suggested that we all come in on high wires and do a little bit of karate over the audience, but we'll see what they can.
I've still been practicing, although the high wire is now banned out. I'm still practicing my Shawn Michaels stretch.
Good.
It's a lot harder to stand up from than it is to go into.
Yeah,
but we'll see how
I assume it will be an hour of entrances and then an hour of exit music and then a little bit of game in the middle of
20
it.
minutes of chat.
Yeah. Alex Donaldson, you need to come on one of these talkover episodes where we watch all E3 things so you can moan about it, because it's a lot of Andy going, I was in this conference, I was bored at this point, I was falling asleep.
Well, I was literally just about to say, like, we should do some of that. I went to 10 E3s in total, so there's a good number of them that I was in the room for various bits and pieces, and there's lots of stories where the statute of limitations has probably passed, or the people who it could get in trouble have left the industry, and then what have you. So yeah, we should do one. Like, I've got some fond memories of. Have you done the one where they did the Xbox 360S and they gave them away to everyone in the audience?
That is quite literally the last one we did.
Was that the one you did?
I was saying, I don't know if you witnessed this, Andy, if you were there, but like, I witnessed people break down crying, like with joy,
Because
like
wasn't the PlayStation?
literally, like sobbing when they found out they were getting these free Xboxes. And I also had the weird thing of, I had a team of 5 guys there, and when back then you used to have to register on a website and then for your conference credentials, and I registered everyone, so everyone was registered under my address. So that meant the rest of my team, none of them received Xboxes, but I got home and there were 5 Xboxes.
Hell yeah.
Because apart from one of my team was British, but the other 3 were American. And so because I had a bunch of UK Xboxes, I had to literally go on Best Buy and buy them Xboxes and have them shipped to their house so they could have their free Xbox. And then I was stuck with all these Xboxes that I couldn't get rid of. So there you go. Although it was easier to get rid of those Xboxes than it is to get rid of an Xbox at the minute. But
we're happy to know that there is no
What
Xbox
time's that?
stories.
11 minutes and 40 seconds.
And you know what? The problem is, because people get so mad about it, it encourages you to do it, I'm afraid. It's but it is bad, Tim. To be honest, it'll sound crazy and insane, but I am primarily a PC guy, right? But apart from the PC and the Switch, of the other two, my Xbox is still my main console, because I just find the UI more convenient and stuff like that. Literally, I don't start my PlayStation unless there's a big PlayStation exclusive.
Same.
But so I've got a lot of love for what Xbox is doing, but it is also sort of. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a leak. A leak? I don't know what you call it. But someone on like one of the trade companies, like Yuki or someone like that, had accidentally set some PDFs live which had sales data, just in full. Like it was from 2016, 2017. But I opened it up and just had a scroll through, and it's mad to think about how much Xbox was selling then compared to that. And that was in the grip. This was UK numbers, and that was in the grip of Xbox One when things were already when things were worse in many ways than they are now. But I looked at these numbers and I was like, wow, they have a hill to climb. Yeah. But hey,
yeah, they do.
Yeah, Alex, could you put your Project Helix hoodie and hat on, or are you just going to leave that? For
I didn't get sent one. I'm quite aggrieved. I'm quite upset.
I did get sent one, but I sent it back to get an extra small to fit my snatched waist. Let's get into it. This week, we're starting off.
I had a joke. I'll leave it. Sorry.
Alex Donaldson, you played
Very
007 First Light. First question.
Jordan does famously say that he doesn't watch movies. Maybe he's actually never seen a James Bond.
He doesn't actually know the Bond theme.
No,
But that sounded more like Countdown.
Yeah, I thought he was.
He comes out and
No, I've seen your Bonds. I've seen a lot of the what was the one that they gave away on the UMD when you bought one of the first PSPs? Was that Quantum Assault Casino Royale?
No, X-Men was a Blu-ray they gave out.
Yeah,
I had Spider-Man 2 on mine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 'cause
UMD,
that was all Sony Pictures then, right? So it was like that was on the list of things that Sony could give away for nothing, and you always had that funny thing of like Bond would always use a Sony Ericsson phone that no one in the real world used.
The best UMD was 101 Premiership goals.
Yep, had that one as well. Good UMD, good format. Bring it back, the UMD. Come on now. Alex, you went to play this James Bond game. This is from IO, a studio that I think low-key made one of the best games of the last decade with that Hitman trilogy. By the time it was all said and done, I think that game is pretty much a masterpiece. Obviously, it started a little bit ropey, but it turned out to be brilliant. How have they tackled Bond, and why is James Bond not in the title of the game? That seems strange to me. I know this is the naming convention they go with, but surely people are searching for James Bond game.
I think there's a prestige thing about that, right? Because it'll be interesting. These are the questions that I think now Bond is owned by Amazon. You'll have, because it is, even in the movie series, it's weird, right? Those films are called Doctor No, From Russia with Love, Thunderball, blah 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 blah. They don't even have 007 in the title. But yeah, it's the thing I'll say is what you just said, oh, you know, IO Hitman trilogy, Hitman World of Assassination as they now call it, one of the best games of the last decade. 100% agree. But you said there, oh, it was a bit ropey to begin with. I actually disagree. Like, you think about it now, Paris, that first thing that you got when it launched, is one of the best levels in that game when you count the whole thing all together. It was just they didn't quite know what they were doing with the release schedule. They had a publisher that was supportive, but I don't think really understood the game at the same time. And so, yeah, I think they know how to launch a game strong, and I think this is going to be a game that launches strong. But I think the big difference with Hitman is all sandboxes, and this is tighter, I guess. You still have sandbox related stuff, but it is sort of the shorthand that people have been using, which is fair enough, is it's got elements of Uncharted, and Uncharted itself is very much related to like Everything or Nothing and that sort of era of Bond game. Like, I think you can draw a line from Everything or Nothing to Uncharted, and the other half is more like Hitman, and the game sort of seamlessly takes you back and forth. This pendulum swings, and all the zones are a bit smaller. So take Bond going to a party, for instance, that's very similar in tone and stuff to that Paris level of Hitman, whereas Paris is one giant level, and you do have security checkpoints, and you can go anywhere and do anything. It's all also completely seamless, you know. So if you throw a grenade upstairs, people will be reacting downstairs to the sound of the grenade going off. They deliberately segment this game a bit more, so all the areas are a bit smaller. So it almost feels like at one point you transition from a cocktail party, and then you have to find your way out back into a restricted area to get towards the security room. And it feels like once you get into the outback area, anything you do out there isn't going to ripple back to the party because they're trying to control the experience a bit more. Whereas a Hitman level can just spin off out of control, and you can go, oh, this is completely ruined. I've lost 40 minutes of progress. I just need to restart. Just on that, you mentioned there's a preview on the website and there's a video version of it on YouTube, and I'd like you to expand on this. Obviously, like the gun factor of it, there's a world shift where there's like a license to kill where you pull out the gun and start blasting. How does that affect the rest of the world? Because as you mentioned there, in Hitman, you pull out the Glock and then the whole thing goes to shit, and they never really reset into their paths. The big thing is it's more controlled. The idea is Bond is a character who he's a government agent, and thereby he has rules to follow. And so, for instance, in Hitman in Paris, if you want to walk into the middle of the bar area and pull out your pistol and start blasting, you press up on the D-pad, you squeeze the left trigger, start squeezing the right trigger. In this, you cannot do that. So Bond cannot start opening fire, take his gun out. The way it works is, there's basically, I guess, I don't know, people at IO might dispute this, but based on what I played, the 3 hours I played, I would say there were 4 game states. The first game state is like, let's call it social, where you're walking around, you can talk to characters, you can interact with characters. So to give you the example of this level, in fact, I'll contextualize all of this in this one level. You're walking around this cocktail party, and your mission at that time is to find a way to get backstage, basically. Walking around the cocktail party, you can overhear people, and overhearing people, much as in Hitman, sort of reveals these story threads. So do you want to impersonate a journalist? Oh, this person is off sick today. Yeah.
Still the joke.
Sorry.
Do you want to impersonate a journalist? You've got to find a camera and a press pass. Do you want to pretend to be and replace the replacement guy for the guy who's off sick on his shift? Whatever. So when you're in that party, you can't enter any combat, stuff like that, but you can go up and talk to people. There's multiple choice options, stuff like that. So that's one state. Then you get backstage, whichever method you choose. Once you're backstage, you're in a restricted area, you're not supposed to be there. So I guess I'd call this phase stealth. And this phase, you obviously can do the traditional stealth things. So you've got the watch, the Q gadget, and you can use that to hack things, you can use the laser to shoot locks off doors, or, to activate distractions so you can get past guys. You can get in cover, out of cover. If you were in an outside level, you could duck down in tall grass, things like that. And you can also use the social element of Bond. So you actually you've got this resource that's called instinct, and this is a limited resource, so you can't do this over and over again. But if you're spotted by someone, or even deliberately, you could just walk up to someone and press the button for bluff, and that's where Bond goes, "Oh, I'm from, the electrical company. I hear you've got a problem up there, whatever. And most enemies, that will fall. Now, a bit like in Hitman, they have the enforcers with the dot over their head, and those guys cannot be fooled.
You're not for the electrical company. I know the electrical company. And you've never done a day in the electrical company.
but the logic is pretty cool. Where if you enter a room and you look around the room, and you're like, "There's no enforcers in here," you could just go, "I'm just going to walk straight to the door that I need to get to, and if anyone interrupts me, I'm going to use the instinct." So then you've got that. If it goes wrong, then you enter hand-to-hand combat. This plays like Arkham, or similar. It's dodge heavy. The Bond-driven element. In fact, it's dodge heavy, but also like Arkham, there's gadgets. So you can, for instance, use the laser on the watch to temporarily blind someone, or things like that, or to trigger something in the environment that will knock someone over or distract or whatever mid combat. You can also pick up random stuff. So you can pick up a bottle. This is a bottle of glasses lens cleaner, and it's very small, but you can
it'll do the trick.
But you can pick up a bottle of champagne off the side and dash it off someone's head, or I think everyone's seen in the trailer picking up pool balls off the table and throwing them at people's heads. Or you can grab people and force them into cabinets and walls and things like that. And if you manage to defeat the enemies and remove the danger in that status, it will literally come up on screen saying "situation contained." And that means you're good to go, continue. If an enemy draws a weapon with intent to use deadly force, your license to kill is activated. And this brings us to the fourth state, and that is the point at which Bond draws his weapon. Now, he only carries, I think, a pistol, at least in the missions I played, he only carries a pistol with, I think, one spare magazine, so 14 rounds. Because obviously he's not kitted out, right? So you've got that to start with, and then obviously you can pick up enemy weapons and stuff like that. And it's got the lovely touches of when you get click, 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 and you get the round stop because the mag's empty. You can then pull the trigger again, and he'll throw it at the nearest guy's face. And all that feels, when you're in shooting, actually, again, that's where it feels very Uncharted. It's not like the rigid movement of Hitman. It's the very fluid, scrappy in and out of cover, running around. And again,
I always thought the shooting in Hitman was like pish, but it felt like it was pish because if you got to that point, you're kind of at the point where you should restart. So there's no real incentive for the shooting to be very good because
it's by design.
It's a punishment, yeah.
Because if you could shoot people in the way that Bond can in Hitman, like freelancer mode, the roguelike mode, would be a total piece of piss because you would just treat every level like a Doom level and just slay everyone in your path. So it's a different thing, but yeah, it sort of goes back and forth between those states, and you can imagine obviously the game sort of thinks about those states in terms of its design. So sometimes you're going to be in a section where it's enforced license to kill, like you're dropped into a room towards the end of this mission that I played, and it's a darkened room, and there's a load of like special forces. So these guys are armored, so they're harder to take down. But they know you're there. You're in license to kill. That's it. However, how you deal with it is up to you. Like, they know you're in the room and they're on high alert. They're doing that Arkham thing of, where's the bat? And walking their path.
Where's this goddamn James Bond? I saw him in here.
and doing dialogue like that. But you've got the option of, do you want to, because you're in license to kill mode from the start with that, because they've walked into the room with weapons drawn, you can treat that as a big old gunfight, or you can sneak around and take people down one by one, or you could sneak to the back of the door and go back of the room and get out the door without really disrupting them, or a mix. You can use your gadgets to take out environmental, to blow something up environmentally or whatever, to take some guys out. So you've always got options.
It's sounding very 2010s to me, and let me tell you, I've been thinking about it a lot this week. I think that's my favourite era of games of all time, the 2010s.
It definitely feels like a game that doesn't necessarily get made now.
Yeah.
But I think I just really enjoyed it. And there's little things that haven't really come over in the previews, like it sounds like you'll go back to MI6 semi-regularly, so you'll get to interact with Q and all that sort of stuff. And Moneypenny and M and stuff like that between missions. That's where maybe you'll get upgrades and updates to things. And the logic is that skill set's going to grow and the sandbox is going to become more intense as a result, just like it does in Hitman. But I just think it's super 2010s in terms of...
Hell yeah.
It's the sort of action game you don't really see much of anymore, but it's 2010 with all the bells and whistles of the present day and all the lessons of Hitman, and I just think they are absolutely looking like they're killing it. I think I was so in, and full disclosure, I'm a very big James Bond fan. The flip side is I've got a very strong opinion about what Bond should be. It's like, I'm one of those people who, they're fine, but actually, after Casino and Quantum, I'm not the biggest fan of Craig's era. Skyfall's fine, but it's not what I personally wanted from a Bond film. Great theme. And my favourite Bond is Dalton. That will help to clue people in on where I stand, I guess.
No Big Sean? No Big Shug? Much money,
I
Barry.
like Sean,
Come on.
It's an absolutely disgraceful thing to say.
An open hand slap.
Well, I would...
Sometimes.
People who don't know what you're talking about.
Very quickly, I'll give you 30 seconds to talk about this Donny's watch, because I saw you snuck it into the preview. I was like, of course he did. Dr. Watches over here. He's an absolute watch maniac. What watch has he got? Is it authentic? Are they selling this watch? Is Chris Dring going to be spending 19 million quid on it? So he's wearing. So Bond has, since GoldenEye, since Pierce Brosnan era, always worn Omega brand watches, and he's always worn Seamasters, and there's the Seamaster 300, or the Aquaterra Daniel Craig wore a bit, or the Planet Ocean Daniel Craig wore a bit. All of those are Seamasters, various types. And yeah, it's interesting. Patrick Gibson has a chronograph Seamaster. Interesting in itself, because it's interesting to a watch person like myself. Bond's never worn a chronograph before. He's always worn... Chronograph is where you have the main face of the watch and then you have two smaller faces within it. Like the wee inset ones?
You can use
I always wondered what they were for.
You can always use it for timing and stuff like that. And, so they're often used by... That's why, like, the Speedmaster that's worn by the NASA astronauts, they wear those because they can use it in space to time certain things, stuff like that. And they're common in race car drivers and stuff like that. F1 drivers all have chronographs. Anyway, he's got an Omega Seamaster chronograph. It's a different watch to anything that any Bond has worn before. And it's actually not the exact configuration that he has in terms of the strap, in terms of the colours on the dial and stuff like that, does not exist in real life.
Cheeky bastard.
So the question is, are they going to release it? I think they probably are.
I'll be there day one.
Edition.
Yeah, I'll be there day one with double watches. I'll be like that. Oh, what's the time on this one?
I literally at the event, I got quite excited because when we walked into the event, they had like a life-size standee of Bond. And one thing to say is, it's one thing to do a life-size standee of Agent 47, who's not a real person, or Cloud from Final Fantasy or whatever. but there's something weird about doing one of these lifestyle resin standees of someone who's a real person. It just felt really uncanny and weird to me. But he had a watch on, and you could tell from looking at it that it wasn't like part of the. It wasn't. Well, no. This is what I mean. It wasn't part of the figure. It was just like someone they'd left a space on the wrist and someone had put a real watch on him. But he was wearing Daniel Craig's watch from No Time to Die. Just the other thing, a bunch of YouTubers and games journalists in that room. I'm amazed that someone didn't half inch it off the statue's wrist, because that's $8,000 a watch. But
Alex, as a fellow luxury watch connoisseur, I'd like you to review my watch if possible, please. I've got here the very highly sought after Timex Pac-Man.
I love a Timex. I love a Timex.
Genuine leather, I think you'll find. It says in the strap.
Beautiful.
So
I mean, it's no Christopher Dring. It's no Christopher Dring, Grace, Resident Evil, Hamilton. You know, but we don't all have that game business money.
I'll genuinely leather the pair of you if we don't stop talking
I
about watches. Thank you very much.
But Christian's got the Resident Evil watch. I don't think he's ever finished a Resident Evil game. That's an impulsive
Christian
purchase.
doesn't play games, famously.
He famously doesn't play games. That's a really impulsive purchase.
What I will say, by the way, just to actually make this discussion relevant, is it is an interesting thing about the game is that Bond is a consumerist fantasy. And that is, the fascinating thing is, that's nothing to do with the cynicism of product placement in films. That's to do with Ian Fleming loved shit. He just loved owning stuff. And so if you go back and read those books, there's a lot of inches of page dedicated to describing exactly what sort of champagne Bond drinks, what car he drives, what gun he uses,
White Lightning,
you know, where exactly he goes on Oxford Street for his suit fitting, stuff like that. So that all came from Fleming. And that's the funny thing about the films is when they wanted to put that stuff in the films early on, it wasn't product placement. They had to go to Aston Martin and they had to buy the cars and things like that. But nowadays, Aston Martin go, how many would you like? But they've threaded all that into the games. It's like, there's a little chase sequence in one of the missions I played, and they have that classic thing where, oh no, here comes an obstacle, which is a big delivery truck.
I saw that.
Smash into the delivery truck, and that delivery truck is a Coca-Cola delivery truck. It's
How's it not Amazon? Come on now, surely an Amazon truck would be more appropriate these days.
You know, that's a really good point. But I suppose this was in development before, but they've got. But the point is, yes, they've got they've got Coca-Cola, they've got Aston Martin, they've got Omega, they've got Jaguar Land Rover, they've got Leica, so the camera brand. So I bet there's going to be some point where Bond's got a camera. So
just on a tangent, this just reminded me when you were talking about using the bottle as a weapon. Did you ever hear the Billy Connolly story about when he had to use a bottle as a weapon once?
Go on.
It was at night. He was in Glasgow and he was walking about and he had a glass bottle of Iron Brew, like the best way to drink Iron Brew. And it was down a dark alleyway and this guy approached him and he was like, I'm going to get battered here. And he thought, I don't know what to do here. And he thought, well, they always do it in the movies. They smash a bottle off the wall and go, come on then. So he had his glass bottle of Iron Brew and he smashed it against the wall and went, come on then, you bastard. And he was left just holding the bottle cap. And he just ran. That's incredible. I'm assuming that's not in the game though.
You know what? It might be, because that's the other thing I want to say, is it's funny.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of great quips. Okay, right. Skip forward like 30 seconds, a minute, whatever, if you don't want to hear some, like one or two of the quips. But, like at one point, I couldn't find a way back from this backstage area of this party back into the party. There was just a door and I could go back and backtrack and try and find another way, but I didn't want to do that. And so I just kicked the door down. So imagine you're standing in a party with your glasses of champagne and,
as I always am.
And so I boot the door open, the door flies off its hinges. And a couple of NPCs behind the door are like, oh my God, and one is like, fucking hell. And Bond comes out, and Bond's just like, sorry, museum door inspector, that one just failed. And I was just like, that's classic stupid Bond. Or like, there's another one where a guy, he does some things, it's all going off, and there's gunfire and stuff, and an innocent NPC shouts, Jesus Christ! And Gibson's Bond is just like, not quite.
Good.
And it's just...
That's all I need. Like,
what's the best Bond one-liner ever? I've got mine, but it's not a very common one. Mine's is Tomorrow Never Dies, where Pierce Brosnan knocks a guy over into a printing press, and he just looks over and goes, "They'll print anything these days." You know, very good.
That is a good one. I think for the funniest one, in terms of, it's the one that whenever you see I saw the film at Secret Cinema where it had a big audience stuff. I saw the film when it was new in the cinema. I've watched it on a drinking session with the lads when we've done Bond film drinking rules, and it always gets a laugh. Is that last hand nearly killed me in Casino Royale after he comes back from being poisoned, and also it has to be said, positively shocking when he throws the toaster into the bath and kills the guy that way. Is great.
I think my favourite bit was when he was in that wee corridor and he was trying to reverse that car back and forth, and it was really tight. So
and then he said Shagadelic, baby.
Yeah. I think Groovy was my favourite.
What's Sean Connery's favourite horror film?
Go on then.
The Exorcist.
And on that, you can check out Alex's preview on the website video as well. I really look forward to that game, and I look forward to the Austin Powers sequel, baby. Story number 2. PlayStation finally explains 30-day timer for digital games, says it's a one-time check. After days of speculating and theorizing, Sony has finally released a statement about these new 30-day timers on PS4 and PS5 purchases. Earlier this week, it was reported that the new version 13.20 update for the PlayStation 5 appeared to have brought in a form of DRM, in which digitally purchased games have to be verified. The theory tested by numerous YouTube channels was that any digital game purchased on or after a certain date appeared to have a 30-day timer applied, suggesting that if the player didn't play the game for 30 days, they would have to connect their console online to renew the license. Now, Sony has officially confirmed that players don't have to verify the game every 30 days and that the initial timer is indeed a one-off check. Quote, this is from John PlayStation. Players can continue to access and play their games purchased as usual. And a one-time online check is required after purchase to confirm the game license, after which no further check-ins are needed. Chris Scullion, you were tracking this down, you were sniffing this out. What seems to be the reason for this?
So the current theory, so PlayStation now obviously said don't worry about it, it's fine, but they've still not explained why they did this and what's going on. What it is now, for those who don't know, is now when you buy a digital game on PS4 or PS5, on PS4 you can check the information of the game, which you can't check on PS5, but it works for both. When you buy the game and install it, it adds, as soon as you buy the game, it starts a 30-day timer now. And basically you play that game once online and that timer then disappears and you're good to go at that point. Now the theory is that pirates have been rated R. They have been one of the ways people have been acquiring games for piracy purposes is taking advantage of Sony's refund policy, which says you can get a digital game refunded if A, it's within 14 days, and B, you don't install it. Now the problem is when you buy a game, that license gets added to the console before you install the game. So people were buying a game, jumping onto the console, ripping the permanent license, refunding the game, and then using that license to unlock it elsewhere. So what Sony, the theory is now, is what they've done is you buy the game, that license is now only 30 days until the refund point kind of window closes, and then it becomes permanent. So pirates can only rip a 30-day license. That's the theory basically. Long story short, it's nothing to worry about. Like you buy your games, 40 years from now you can still buy those games as long as we still have a civilization. You can still play those games, I should say, because they won't need any online checks. But this whole thing could have been sorted if Sony had come out at the start and said don't worry about it, instead of leaving it for like a week.
No, that's not like them. Speaking of Sony, Andy, you played any more Saros? You beat the first boss yet?
No.
Oh, come on.
What did I play? What did I play this week?
It's too easy.
I started up Res, and I ended up playing through the entirety of Res.
Yeah,
it's been a week for old
Star
games.
Fox 64. Played a bit of that. I played. What else did I play? I played Rave Racer on Arcade Archives.
Oh, now you're talking.
Jesus Christ. I mean, it's as good as time as any to go into our new feature.
Jordan, what's Sean Connery's favourite Housemarque game?
I don't know, Chris. What's Sean Connery's favourite Housemarque game?
Super Stardust.
There you go.
If we're doing just old games we've been playing, I have to say this week I just played a load of Roller Coaster Tycoon.
What a
I
game!
don't
by the
know
way.
why. Well, I do
What a
know
game.
why. I went to Legoland with my kid, and I came out and I was like, "Oh, it's really interesting."
I could build a better roller coaster than that.
Well, you could, because Legoland, I think it's 30 this year, and I don't think they've really changed it much in 30 years. I was like, "Oh, they've still got that ride that I went to on year 1 or 2
When did you go, Alex? We might have been there on the same day.
last weekend."
I must have just left when you.
Ah.
I was there the week before. Oh well, sorry.
It's good. It's a good little part, though. It's a really good part. For
Yeah, it's
kids,
fun.
to be fair. But then that led me to go, I'm going to play Roller Coaster Tycoon and do that thing where you give the rides really lewd names and then laugh at the thoughts of the guests. So you name a ride the Big Willy, and then one of the guests is thinking the Big Willy looks too intense for me. And so on and
I've
so
heard
forth.
that.
It's funny because when people talk about the best Scottish games, they always say Grand Theft Auto, they always say Lemmings, they never say Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Is he Scottish? I did
Chris
not know.
Sawyer's Scottish, the University of Strathclyde,
Ah.
I believe is where he got his degree. But
Interesting. You're welcome, the world. Before the break, it brings us to our new returning segment.
60 retro seconds with Chris Scullion.
Chris,
I know this has gone down from 2 minutes to 60 seconds now because I was able to do it in 60 last
it's
time.
because 60 Scullion, it's alliterative. I don't know if you know anything about branding, Chris, but this is what we're doing here. I'm going to set a timer for 60 seconds, and Chris is going to talk about some old guff. Chris Scullion, proceed.
Evercade has released its 2 new retro compilations. You've got Evercade Mega Cat Studios Collection 3. Mega Cat Studios is the company that makes new games for old systems. They're a bit hit and miss, so I don't like a lot of their stuff. They recently did the God of War game that was also met with mixed response. More important is Evercade Activision Collection 2, which includes 15 Activision Atari 2600 games, including Boxing, Checkers, Pitfall 2 and River Raid 2, which are the highlights. As with every Evercade game, you get a cartridge that plays on it, and you also get a cheeky wee manual from back in the day when you get manuals for your games. Evercade is worth dabbling with if it's your cup of tea. But if there's anything there that you like the look of, you should be getting the games fairly soon, because these are the sort of things that on the kind of resale market rocket up in price when they're kind of no longer in print. And I believe that leaves me with 4, 3, 2, 1. There's your minute.
That was very
Thanks very
efficient.
much.
What do you think of that
That
new
was
Evercade?
60 seconds with Scullion.
Thanks.
What do you think of that new Evercade, Scullion? The one they've announced, because we haven't spoken about it.
The one,
The new machine.
that's right, because I'm confused because they announced 2 more yesterday.
Oh yeah. I mean the new big machine, not the
It
individual.
looks good. It's like a handheld that does. It's got twin sticks and stuff like that, doesn't it? It's like
PS Vita vibes, except way less
Pretty
powerful,
much.
obviously.
Oh!
don't get excited.
Has it got a back touch? Has it got a back touch? Come on.
I
No,
can give
no,
you a
look up
back
the
touch
games
while
that-
you play it.
I've
well.
forgotten the name of it, like because Nexus, Evercade Nexus.
Nexus, that's it.
Yeah.
It's basically an advanced version of their existing. It does look good. It does have that Vita look to it. It's widescreen that can play.
Oh, fuck.
Did Ian Fleming have one of these, The fucking consumerist prick. Sorry. Yeah, but I'm sure we'll be covering the Evercade Nexus later in the year when it comes out. But yeah, all good.
Yeah, hot off the presses. When we come back, we'll be talking about more handheld guff, and we will be talking about Assassin's Creed Hexy, if that's how you pronounce it. We'll see you in a minute. And we are back. Remember, you can get much more over on patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle, including ad-free browsing on the website, an extra podcast every week, and extra video content every single week. Next story. We are hard at work on it. Valve says Steam Deck 2 is still in development, acknowledges ongoing Steam Deck stock issues. The long and short of this is they are working on the second version of that handheld. This is from an interview with IGN from Valve programmer. I'm very sorry. I think it's Pierre-Louis Griffiths. We're hard at work on it. Obviously, every step of the way, if you look at our harder projects over the years, you can draw a straight line from the original Steam controller and Steam machines to Steam Deck and everything that we're announcing and shipping this year. And we expect Steam Deck will be a lot of the same, but a lot of what we're doing here will be learnings that we build up to it. First of all, Out of a Steam Deck 2, Andy, in this world of everyone having their own handheld and things like that, does a Steam Deck 2 just have to be like slightly more powerful, slightly nicer screen? Because people seem pretty happy with the thing itself.
Yeah, I'd say that is pretty creaking now, Steam Deck. I mean, even at the time, it was kind of like, it felt like a proof of concept to me, just powerful enough, to play like last gen stuff and indie stuff. And I mean, like modern games do run on it, but they're really compromised, right?
Yeah.
I think Switch 2 shows it up quite a bit, personally, considering the size and Steam Deck is absolutely massive. Sorry, go on, Alex.
Is it the argument that this is where Dringo would, I'm sure, correct us, but I'm sure he and I have had this conversation before, and I'm sure that the whole thing with Steam Deck is it's a value add for Valve.
Of course,
there are very few people who are buying Steam Deck, and that is their primary place to play. And so I think they are, in that case, I'm the perfect example, right? Got a PC over 5090 and stuff, but I will take my Steam Deck on flights for the convenience of continuing my saves, even if I know Pragmata's going to look like a pig on it or whatever. The other thing I'll say is they did say in that article, that interview they did with IGN, they said they're looking for a good uplift. They were like, we don't think 30 or 40 or 50% would be good enough. We want a bigger leap than that. So I think you will get a decent... I mean, where would that put it, I guess? Because Steam Deck is probably slightly behind the Series S. So I wonder if a Steam Deck 2 would be roughly base PS5 power, maybe.
Same as this rumoured PS6 handheld and that kind of...
Well, yeah, that would put it pretty on par with that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking like one of the reasons that the Switch 2 can handle so many games so well is the upscaling, the NVIDIA stuff. I know the first Steam Deck had like AMD the GPU in it, and presumably their version of what is it, FSR. That surely that's advanced to such a stage now that whatever the new Steam Deck will have a much better version of that in it, which will therefore make the games run better. So I'd imagine that's going to play a big part in a big enough jump to make actually AAA modern games run well. And Steam Deck 2 is having a better GPU. How much is this going to cost though?
Or do they go to an NVIDIA chip? That's the other question. That's the other thing they could do.
That'd be bold.
But it is, I mean, this is the whole thing, right? Like, they had those consoles, the Steam console, whatever you want to call it, the Steam machine. They had that ready to go, and the VR headset and stuff. They literally had them ready to go, and the only reason that we haven't had the launch, like, God, I had emails off them going, oh, yeah, we'll be back in touch very soon about review units and stuff like that. And obviously, nothing happened. And then, obviously, the controller was meant to launch at the same time. But now they've put the controller out on its own because that's the one thing that they can make and sell reliably that hasn't been impacted by all the current madness. And why would you sit on millions of them if you've made them?
Yeah.
But so this is the other thing. When they say we're hard at work on it, especially with how risk-averse Valve tends to be as a company, I can't see them putting this out until everything calms down.
Yeah. It's a while away.
So, a long ass time. Those Steam Deck controllers, those Steam controllers rather, shipped. One of them shipped to Chris Scullion's Palace in Edinburgh. How is it, Chris?
I mean, this little thing.
That little thing. It's not little at all. It's an absolute eyesore.
It's not little in the slightest. As soon as I saw it, I thought this is going to be like grim to hold. It's actually really comfortable. Surprisingly, very comfortable. The problem is that just now I've only been testing it. It literally turned up like yesterday, so I've only been testing it on Steam games so far. And in that respect, obviously, as you would expect, it's excellent. The kind of touchpads that are on it, it's similar to the Steam Deck. You can kind of configure those to whatever you want. So generally, the right one acts like a right stick on a mouse.
Have they got haptics on them?
They've got haptics on them, yeah. And you can configure it. Apparently, I don't mess with the kind of Warcraft and that sort of stuff, but apparently for games like that, you can map different keyboard commands to different bits on the thumbstick, so you can swipe it like a radio thing. It's also got the gyro aiming in it, where it's now got like touch-based gyro aiming, which I've only kind of started to mess with. I think I'm going to be turning that off because it feels like a back panel Vita situation where your fingers can kind of rest on it by mistake and the gyro aiming turns on. From what I understand, from other people who have tried it, and I've not tried this yet. This is why the review's next week. It's trickier to get it working on non-Steam games. So if you're big on PC Game Pass, it's not quite as easy as plugging in an Xbox controller. I think there's things there because it's not like standard X input like most controllers are. So that's what I need to mess about with a bit more and see what that's the case. But in terms of like connectivity, is easy. It comes with a wee puck, they call it, and it's literally just a magnet, and that charges it. And you take it off the puck,
that's satisfying.
which is nice. There's no headphone port, which is annoying. I like to usually plug headphones straight into Xbox or PlayStation or the Switch 2 Pro controller, so that's a bit annoying. So
No headphone port seems mental. Like that would cost a penny to put in.
I think the thing is, the vast majority of PC players will probably plug a headset into their PC because they're at their PC. But I like to put my PC games onto my TV and use an Xbox controller with a headset like over there because it allows for that. So now I can't need to play my PC games here if I want to use a headset, which is annoying. But so far so good. Like it's sturdy, the sticks are great, everything's comfortable. I just need to test it on non-Steam stuff next to see if, because that might be the sticking point. But review next week at some point.
Review next.
The description that you just gave makes me think it'd be really good for 3DS emulation because it's got the gyro, and you could use the haptic pads as a mouse on the second screen to simulate the touch. Yeah. So that's interesting. I wonder how long it'll take for it to get working with something like that.
I wouldn't know. I don't dabble in that.
Might be a good way to play Ocarina, Majora, whatever.
Yeah, but no,
we need more ways to play the Ocarina of Time. This might be a controversial thing that I discovered about myself recently. I despise playing games wearing headphones. I just don't like it. It feels I feel too trapped in. I like a big loud telly situation where I can have a bit of ambient noise outside of that. But when I've got headphones on, I'm like, this is either too much or it starts to annoy me after a while. It starts to grate, whereas a telly situation is more kind of ebb and flow. I don't know if that's just...
I only recently got into it. Like, I know it's because my TV's got a really sensitive, clear voice thing. And no matter what setting I choose, it never turns it off. So, like, it amplifies the vocals, and all the music gets really... like shrunk, like really,
that's
quieted
weird.
down, and I can't fix every single setting. Does it to
What
some
telly have
extent.
you got?
It's a LG.
One of the OLEDs?
But for some reason it just fannies about with the sound. So for me it's like being transformative. Actually being able to hear games like in that, and especially now, like the kid used to not sleep that well, but now she sleeps fine. So like I can put them on at night and not have to keep an ear out and make sure. So I've been recently just like properly like that's all the only way I play games now at night is with the headphones on. But
you live that bachelor life, Jordan. I've got my wife
That's
has like bat hearing. She can hear a pin drop from 7 rooms away. So if I'm playing at any time that isn't a if she's watching TV, it interrupts her. So or whatever, if she's trying to sleep, definitely not. So but I quite like especially now, like you can get good quality 7.1 headphones and stuff like that. I've always really rated the Xbox official headset. Is
I like
excellent.
that, but mine pure the like leather or whatever on mine pure degraded. The same thing happened with the PS5 like platinum headset. Like they just fell to bits. I don't know why. Like they have particularly greasy ears. But
this is the one that I've started. They've got the review for these, which went up on VGC last week. These kind of new rig ones. So if you check on the site on our review section, you'll see these are like ridiculous. They've got like Dolby Atmos and all that kind of stuff on it. They're really good.
Are they as good as my Gotham Knights headphones, which are?
We'll never know. Oh,
there you go. That was the game of the week the last time I was on. No, was it? No, it wasn't. It was Gotham City Imposters.
Gotham City Imposters. No, these were. I got sent these and I was like, this is bizarre, but they are wired, like exclusively wired headphones with a really soft ear cushions, so they're perfect for recording stuff. They're like studio headphones, and it's like that's. Also, I have massive ears, like very, very long lobes, very long top bits. So having any kind of
like I tried, they call them.
Yeah, exactly. See, I don't have pointy out ears. I have long ones, so it's a worse problem. Like if I stretched my ears like a goth, it'd be a nightmare. But I tried on the AirPod Maxes because I like the Apple headphone ecosystem. Just didn't work. There was always a bit of ear sticking out either way, and it was just uncomfortable. So. I think it's maybe a me problem, my deformities, alas. Next story. Assassin's Creed Hexy has lost another director. This is the darker game. Weeks after creative director Clint Hawking exited Ubisoft, Benoit Richer, whichever you fancy, says he's left Ubisoft to work on his own indie studio. Previously, he was the director of Arkham Origins, which is an underrated game in my opinion, and co-dev for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Before that, he worked on Rainbow Six. There's been a major shake-up of the Assassin's Creed franchise, new leadership team. There's got a lot of games on the way. Obviously, they've got Hexy, they've got the multiplayer thing. They have the Resynced, obviously, this year. Andy, the Assassin's Creed franchise in a weird spot after Shadows, which I thought was a very good game in my opinion, Shadows, but obviously it had all the shit round the outside of it. Where do you expect them to go for Hexy?
Probably, well, they brought in a whole new leadership team, haven't they, as part of Ubisoft's restructuring with this new Tencent subsidiary, and they've put all the Black Flag, the former Black Flag producers, creative director in charge of the Assassin's Creed brand. And they actually, the creative director of Black Flag has taken over this project from Clint Hawking. And it sounds like quite a few people have gone. I mean, obviously he's gone, and now the game director has gone. For people who aren't familiar, usually the creative director kind of like comes up with a vision for the project, and then the game director goes and executes that, gets in the weeds and builds the systems and does, designs the levels and stuff like that, leads a team of designers. So really is the entire like top branch creatively of that project been taken off, which is concerning, suggests that they're going to change direction. I guess we'll have to wait and see what the Assassin's games turn out to be like going forward, because it doesn't. There's not really anything that's necessarily indicative, right? I mean, it doesn't really necessarily mean they're going to be like Shadows.
I think they're at a weird crossroads at the minute where, like, do they continue down the RPG path? They have split it into what they refer to as the RPG strand and the action adventure strand. Like, I think a lot of the fan base would like them to go back to the action adventure strand rather than these big RPGs with like gear and like numbers and all that kind of stuff. But I suppose that we'll see. I think the setting is really interesting. I'd love a kind of like dark, like witchy kind of Assassin's Creed. I hope that they really kind of triple down on that.
It's weird because when I first saw the logo, I was thinking, obviously you immediately think Blair Witch because it's like the thing about it. But apparently it's during the Holy Roman Empire, which means it'll be like a kind of Germany, Austria, Switzerland type setting. So you'll still presumably have lots of parkour stuff, just climbing big buildings while chasing witches about. I mean, they had the same problem with Assassin's Creed 3, where it's like, how can you jump off big buildings when there was no big buildings built at that time? You just have to. They made a real, like, the Assassin's Creed 3 parkour system for running through trees is so cool, and for some reason, like, they pure dialed that back in subsequent games. It was never as kind of smooth as that, but I think that the Assassin's Creed Midsummer could be like a quite an interesting setting. Yeah, I think Shadows is a great game, and obviously we'll have more on Assassin's Creed coming pretty soon. But Assassin's Creed, despite everything it's been through, still one of the only franchises that my pals that don't really care about games play and are interested in and ask about. They're still like, what's happening with Assassin's Creed? Like, is there a new Assassin's Creed? They always ask about Ezio because that's that 2 is the one that they got them into it in the 360 era. They're always like, where is it now? What are they doing with it now? Kind of thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. We couldn't not talk about this considering who's on this effing podcast. No old, stay gold. Sega launches Sega Universe, a project designed to revive its older IP beyond games. Using the tagline, No Old, Stay Gold, which is also the tagline of VGC, the company released a statement in Japan saying it plans to, quote, shine light on classic titles that are still loved by fans, distinct from current titles, and aims to transcend the world of games to deliver new ways to enjoy them. According to Sega, the first phase of Sega Universe will involve anniversary projects focused on IP that are celebrating major anniversaries in 2026. These are the games that are celebrating those anniversaries, according to Chris Scullion.
Fantasy Zone, 40th. Outrun, 40th. Streets of Rage, 35th. Rent a Hero, 35th. Guardian Heroes, 30th. Nights into Dreams, 30th. Dynamite Deca, 30th. Sakura Wars, 30th. And SGGG, aka Sega 25th. It's not clear how Sega plans to mark each of these games. Chris Scullion, fantasy booking, what would you like this to be? What would you like them to do? Is it just going to be t-shirts?
Aye. But fancy booking would be Sega Gaga finally getting translated. That's my kind of dream. But although it got a fan translation quite recently, which I've not had time to check out. That's basically that's the end of Sega game, where it's like a fictional universe where it's a visual novel. Mainly, but it's got strategy RPG bits in it as well, where basically you take control of a game company that's supposed to be Sega, who's struggling because a company that's supposed to be PlayStation is killing you. And it's got stuff like Alex Kidd's retired and working in a game shop and moaning about how back in the good old days he used to be the star before Sonic turned up and all that. So it's basically Sega having a final piss take at itself right before it stopped making consoles. And moved on to like being third party. There's always been a bastard to translate apparently, just because of the way it's put together, but it literally just got translated by fans. So that's a big one for me. Everything else, all those are great. Dynamite Deca, the Dynamite
Not
Cop,
all of
which
them.
was the second one. Well, most of them. Dynamite Cop, which was the second. Dynamite Deca, because the first one was Die Hard Arcade, is excellent. Beat 'em up. It's really
Second
fun,
best
like,
Die Hard
daft.
game.
Yes, agreed. After that GameCube one, obviously.
Oh.
No.
I know you know what the real best Die Hard game.
Yeah, of course.
Please let them just make a new Outrun. Or no, I don't even need a new Outrun, right? What I need is just a competent release of Outrun 2 that works on Steam. You had the XBLA one. Was that Outrun 2 or was that something else? Was that one 2,
no,
right?
it was out on arcade, but it was basically
Outrun 2.
But,
Like, I don't know why we can't just port that up and, there was a PC version of Outrun 2, but it's a nightmare to get it running well. Just give us...
I need that game desperately.
I think
it's just a licensing thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you get, if Digital Eclipse and Sega can somehow be pals, you get the Outrun collection where you get the main ones, also the kind of weird Mega Drive ones, like the futuristic Outrun that they brought out and Outrunners in the arcades. There's loads of kind of spin-offs they did. Get all them, and then you can get them all in one collection. That'd be
Outrun's the one I'd like to see most of all. I mean, Streets of Rage is a funny one, because did you guys see yesterday at Icon in Vegas the ESA's high-level industry thing that only...
Oh, don't mess it.
Only it's just all the execs, but the guys who produced the Sonic theme did a Sonic film did a talk, and they were talking a bit about the Streets of Rage movie that they're working on. It's a bit weird because I don't know, like
presented entirely in side scrolling.
I love those characters and stuff, but there's not much to it.
No, there really isn't. Unless it's 90 minutes of them just kicking the shit out of everyone with no story until the very end, then it's pretty pointless. But Streets of Rage 2 is one of my all-time top 5.
Well, they talked about the soundtrack in this thing, and I was like, are they gonna get him to do the movie score? Is that their plan?
Instantly, I now care about a Streets of Rage movie if Yuzo Koshiro's back to do the actual music.
But then it's fascinating because, like, the thing about that is it's so 90s. Such 90s style music. Does that sell to a younger generation? I don't know.
See, a Streets of Rage movie could work if they lean on the 90s side of things and make it like a 90s action movie that we don't get these days.
Well, that's what Street Fighter's doing, right? Street Fighter is set in 93.
Yeah. I'm up for Street Fighter.
I will conclude my opinion on this segment by just saying I think Knights sort of sucks, I'm afraid.
It hasn't aged well.
Yeah. Shites into Dreams. Andy, was Outrun the game that absolutely dominated you at NQ64, or was that a different racing game?
Dominated. I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, it was like an Arsenal Man City situation. I was leading the entire thing, and then you just pipped me to the post at the very last.
So what you mean is I was toying with you.
Definition of domination usually means taking someone out of the game entirely.
Can't. The weird thing about the Sega stuff is, like, I think a lot of Sega's franchises and stuff like that make a cool T-shirt. Like I would wear a Dynamite Deca T-shirt, a game I have absolutely no idea about. It's just kind of like, yeah, fuck it, Dynamite Deca. I think it's interesting that Sega are doing all that stuff. When are they going to start showing those 90 new games they announced at the Game Awards, like the new Crazy Taxi and all that shit? Like surely that has to be coming pretty soon, but maybe they realise you can't really make a big game out of Crazy Taxi in the year 2026.
I'm concerned they are opening a pop-up 65th anniversary Sega shop in Japan while I'm there, and it's all entirely original merch, 40 pieces apparently, and I'm very scared because I looked at it. There's like Saturn stuff, Mega Drive stuff, and I'm just like, oh, this is
just
bad
get
news.
the lot. Fuck it, you can't take it with you. It doesn't
I'm secretly praying when I turn up. It's like the T-shirts only go up to large, so I can't get anything. And then
Japanese large as well.
Yeah, exactly. So at least then I'll be like, okay, well.
But it'll probably
but if it's there and viably purchasable, I'm done.
It'll probably be a lot of deeply embarrassing Sonic merch, so you'll probably be fine.
Can't wait.
Hell yeah.
Sonic
like that Sega shop in Japan, and it's like, here's Sonic, here's like one tiny bit of Like a Dragon, one tiny bit of Persona, and a lovely big bit of Rido. So if they have any
I queued
Rido
up to go in that store for about 10 minutes and then did a lap and left.
I ummed and ahed about buying the Persona 3 gun, but then I figured I wouldn't get it back.
It was weird when it was really quiet when I was there. All of those shops were just like walk in, wander about. For my money, outside of the Pokemon Center, obviously the shop with the best shite in it, the wee Godzilla shop.
Yeah. To be honest, it's all a bit diminished now. It's like Nintendo. Most of the stuff from the Japanese store you can now buy on their digital store in the West.
I feel lost when I go into the Nintendo shop. I'm like I really like Mario, but I don't like any of the stuff they make for Mario. I think the merch they make for Mario is like obviously very like kid oriented and stuff like that. Like I like a couple of Zelda games, but it's just it's not for me, the Nintendo stuff.
Me and Dring went to the San Francisco one during GDC, and I couldn't find anything to buy. And I love to buy random crap. No, I'm not an idiot. I didn't buy that flower. With all respect to Scullion.
It's a little bit oversaturated now, isn't it? It's a little bit oversaturated.
Yeah. There's too much.
It was exciting when they opened that store. Like, God knows how much money I spent. And the Nintendo Museum store is probably actually better.
The museum store is the best.
The Nintendo Museum is like, it has focus and it has a much smaller range, tighter range of products, right? Whereas
the other problem,
there's just so much stuff now, you know? Like, I mean, I say this before, like, Pikmin merchandise, like, I would have been so excited. But it just, now I like walk past it. There's just so much stuff.
The other problem is it's clearly a tourist centred shop.
Of course it is. Yeah, people like land in Japan and they go straight to the Shibuya Park.
And for that reason, they don't rotate their stock frequently enough. So this will be like the fourth year in a row I've been there, and it's the same stuff.
It's an M&M. I don't even bother going in anymore.
Yeah, I'll look in and see, because like you might get like they had that Emio bag with the face on it last time, which I was quite happy with. But so like 95% of the stock will be new, but you might get like, I wanted to see if there's like any like that Pokopia, but that'll be more in the Pokemon shop, won't it?
Yeah, that'll be in the Pokemon shop.
Depends.
I want to get the kind of plush Ditto with the human Ditto, if there's any of those kicking around. But
from what I understand, they knew what this game was going to be, and they have made billions of all that stuff. So that'll be easy enough to get. I realised that I might have said this in the podcast before. One of the first days I'm in Japan later this year is when they're launching the 30th anniversary TCG set in Japan. And I've already said to Laura, I don't give a fuck, hen. We are going to queue up, because it's actually as long as you queue, as long as you're there on time and you get your ticket and stuff, it's actually quite easy to get the cards in Japan compared to the UK. So
the day I arrive in Japan this week is setting up to be absolute carnage, because so Beep, which is one of the big kind of retro shops in Akihabara, the building it's part of is being demolished apparently, and literally the day after I get there, they're closing down for good, the Akihabara branch of Beep. So they're doing a closing down sale where everything's for sale.
So where's Beep going then?
I don't know. They've got other branches though, I think. At least the Akihabara ones.
That's like the only store worth going to.
So apparently they're shutting down entirely. So they're doing like those mystery bags and all that stuff to kind of empty. Yeah, Super Potatoes.
Super Potato was the hottest building I've ever been in my entire life. I walked out there after about 2 seconds because obviously, like, it was no ventilation. It was a terrible experience. That little I can't remember what it was called, but where I bought my copy of Pokemon Ruby was actually pretty decent. And it was like one 19-year-old lassie working behind the desk, not paying attention to anything that was going on, didn't look at you when you went to check out. It was a good vibe.
I just looked at the beep thing. It does live on.
Oh, they're moving it.
Yeah, but they don't know.
It says, Beepak Harbour announced their current location will be closing on May 17th. Plans to open at another location have not yet been announced, but until then, they're having a farewell sale. So yeah, it sounds like they'll move somewhere else, but for now,
Beep will return.
They're basically selling off all their merch and all their loads of stuff and selling mystery bags for like £100 with loads of shit.
I'll go there then.
Yeah, absolutely rinse that.
You're going to go there on day one. That's a hell of a
massively jet lagged. Like drop my cases off at the hotel and straight to Akihabara and sift through whatever's left because that'll be like 2 days before it closes. So it'll probably be the dregs that are left at that point. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's
cheap dregs.
Good merch is getting harder to find. I think is the overall takeaway because I think the more popular like retro game merch becomes as people who loved games growing up hit their 30s and 40s, the more quite generic slop there is.
Yeah,
and I think as well, like with the boom of tourism in Tokyo, you get kind of like tourist sales as well, where they are like just looking for a memento. Particularly Pokemon games are the big one, right? Like the price of Pokemon games in Tokyo, especially, is ridiculous now.
Yeah.
Because people, even if you're not really into games, you'll go, I should buy, like that as a momentum of the trip.
Yeah.
The first red, blue, green, and yellow are crazy. But if you go I got Ruby for a really good price, and it was basically new because people aren't thinking, I'll buy like a 3rd gen game on the Game Boy Advance that was when the series wasn't as popular. Like they're looking for the early stuff. But yes, the Pokemon stuff's crazy. All the game shops just have like floor to ceiling packs of cards out the front of them now because they're like in the charging crate, which is especially weird in Japan because all the Pokemon centers have lots of Pokemon cards. They just have a limit on them, but they have plenty of stock and stuff like that. So yeah, it's an interesting one. What I was looking for when I was there was it was kind of hard to find weirdly because they're more into Gundam and Kamen Rider, but the series that Power Rangers is based on, Super Sentai, the Japanese series, I was looking for stuff from that and from a couple of my favorite Power Rangers adaptions, and it was like nothing. It was like there's a few shops outside Tokyo that have like loads and loads of stuff, but I wasn't going to travel all that way for that, so I might try and drag Laura to that. They had a Super Sentai
or something like that in it because Mandarake does loads of good weekend because they're a big Sailor Moon booth. Louise loves Sailor Moon. And they had like just a big display of just Sailor Moon stuff. So I'd imagine that's where you get.
I missed it, but they had an exhibition for the 50th anniversary of Super Sentai where they had every suit like out in a big room that you could walk through and see all of them. I was like, man, that's something you could only do in Japan because anywhere else, they had their helmets ripped off and they'd been battered and all that kind of stuff. So
God rest the yellow Power Ranger.
Yeah, God rest the yellow Power Ranger. Before we go, Chris Scullion. 20 years of heart. Any thoughts on your almost 20th year in games?
Thanks very much for acknowledging that. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to buy myself a wee Colin the Caterpillar cake.
Nice.
2nd of May 2006 was the day I joined Official Nintendo magazine, so tomorrow's my 20th anniversary as a professional games journalist. So yeah,
professional.
Well, congratulations.
Professional on paper. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's weird. Like I keep saying, like it's weird to have been in it long enough now that I've seen like the birth and death and rebirth and re-death of plastic instruments, stuff like that. And like Andy says as well, you get to the point where you start reviewing remakes and remasters of the games you already reviewed and stuff like that, and retro compilations. Like they're releasing retro compilations of DS Castlevania games that I reviewed in the first place, and now they're retro. So yeah, it's weird. But here's to 20 more years. So that I can retire in my 60s, having done literally nothing else in my life.
That's the dream. Thank you very much for listening. You can get more on patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. Patrons, remember to check out our new update. That is up there. We'll be back next week with plenty more nonsense. Until then, Alexander Donaldson, full name on Riverside for some reason. Don't understand that. But where can people find you? When are you going to have something
What's
for
your
people
home
to
address?
find? Will you come back and talk about it when you have something for people to find?
Yeah, I'll come back and talk about it. It literally won't be long now. This side of Summer Games Fest, I will have something new that I think hopefully will be quite complimentary to, I'm a big fan of you guys and what you guys do, and I want to make something that sits alongside it, and hopefully VGC and this
symbiotic.
stuff. We want to take.
Sounds like somebody's muscling in our turf.
We want to take chunks. We want to take. VGC already proudly takes a chunk out of the big corporate-owned games media machine, and there's still plenty of chunks to be ripped out of that particular living corpse. So yeah, I'll have something new. RPG site obviously still cracking on, and it's going to be an interesting summer over there. That website is pretty soon turning 20 years old, which what the hell. And also we've got some interesting stuff coming up, like release wise as well. So I'm on RPG site, I'm at AP Zone Runner on all the different, on Blue Sky mostly, and you can find me on VGC now with a little bit of written work on VGC. Hopefully,
how did that happen? That was that. But how did you get through those doors? That was absolutely ridiculous.
Well, they let anyone in these days.
They really do. It's gone downhill. It's changed hands. You say we're not corporately owned. Andy's recent Barnet with a full slick back looks like he could be on Wall Street and closing deals.
He's giving Football Manager
playing for JP Morgan, mate.
Yeah,
it's giving Football Manager to me.
Andy's always given me like tracksuit manager vibes. Like he'd be standing on it'd be like a Diego Simeone type who's like running down the touchline, like screaming at the players. Yeah. But as Chris Scullion, more reserved, he'd be doing exactly what he does.
I would never run.
Andy would spend his entire career having just served a ban from the touchline, just sitting up on the little gantry, coming back, ban, touchline again. Andy, anything cool next week that we can talk about, or just go on the website and find out when it happens?
Is there anything cool going on next week? I think
Hopefully
it's
some fucking news.
Oh, the financial results start next week.
Woo!
So at least there'll be stuff going on.
Was that the James Bond theme?
There we go. That's it. I will say, by the way, just to come back to the Andy Football Manager analogy, you know who he is? There's an NFL manager, an NFL head coach, as they call them, where the team has someone in his employ, and this guy's only job on game day is to stand a couple of feet behind the coach and grab him if he goes to run onto the field. Because if you cross the line, the team gets fined and he can be ejected. So they employ a man, probably a lot of money, probably a six-figure job, and all his job is literally just to grab and pull the guy back.
Well, that's why we've got Beans now. Yes. So we've got him doing that stuff. Thank you very much for listening. Say goodbye, Alexander Donaldson.
Goodbye, Alexander Donaldson.
Say goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
And we'll see you next time. VGC is supported by Patreon. Check out patreon.com/videogameschronicle for more podcasts, ad-free browsing, and extra content. Thank you for your support.